Hello. This video is a follow-up for last week's video, an intimate tour of the vagina. I received a comment after I published that video from a friend of mine and said that I did not give the clitoris enough attention, and she's absolutely right. So I'm here to rectify this and give the clitoris the rightfully deserved attention and focus in this video. I decided to give you a little lesson on anatomy of the clitoris, why we have a clitoris, and how to stimulate a clitoris. And for that you're going to have to watch, please, the whole video. There are two parts of the clitoris that are external: the clitoral glands and the clitoral hood. Now, clitoral glands is quite a tongue twister, and therefore most people call it just simply the clitoris, or the pleasure button, or the crown, or the jewel. The clitoral glands is about the size of a pea, and it is located above the urethra. What makes this pleasure button so magical is the following. The clitoral glands has more nerve endings than any other part of the human body, male or female, more than fingertips, tongue, anal, and twice as many as the head of the penis. And in other words, it is extremely sensitive. And because it is so sensitive, nature has equipped this pleasure button with a clitoral hood. The hood is connected by the two sides of the labia minora, which are also called the small lips. And the hood serves to protect the sensitive ear from unwanted stimulation. The clitoral hood can vary in size and degree of coverage from woman to woman, which makes every clitoris as unique as someone's voice. The lower two sections, the shaft and the base, are the internal parts of the clitoris. They are the mass of the structure and are subterranean, hidden beneath the skin of the vulva, just as it is with the form of the icebergs, where one can only see a small part of the mass. The clitoral body projects upwards into your pelvis and attaches via ligaments to the pubic bone. The clitoris splits in half to form the paired legs and the vestibular bulbs. The bulbs and the crura, which are all called the legs, contain erectile tissue that swells with blood during the female sexual arousal. By swelling on either side of the vaginal canal, they increase lubrication in the vagina while increasing sexual stimulation and sensation. There is so much more to the structure of the clitoris than what the eye can see. So while we're still in the anatomy lesson, I would like to add the fact that the mammalian male derives from the female and not the other way around. Thus, a clitoris is not simply a stumped penis, but a penis is a transformed clitoris. Remember that. Pleasure and erotic independence. That sounds great, doesn't it? Well, I'm so happy to tell you that this little pleasure button that the women have has only one job, and that is to give us pleasure. Sexual pleasure, that is. We have a body full of organs that perform up to 500 tasks a day. But our clitoris only has one task, and that task is to be there for us, to be there for our sexuality, and to give us pleasure. With more than 8,000 nerve endings in the pea size of clitoris. So, you know, I have a hazelnut here, so this is 8,000 nerve endings. This is the tip of a penis. Let's see, let me turn it around so you can see it. That is 4,000 nerve endings. 8,000, 4,000 nerve endings. Now, these 8,000 nerve endings and the hood that comes with it to protect the nerve endings is more than adequately, so with those nerve endings, the clitoris is more than adequately equipped to do its job. Now, one of the many gifts of the clitoris is her lack of interest in estrogen, and therefore it really doesn't care if you take birth control pills or if you are in an estrogen replacement therapy. It will not atrophy after menopause the way the vagina can.
It will remain unmodified in the adult, and the woman, the owner of the clitoris, will retain her erotic independence for life. The woman will retain her erotic independence for life. It's great to be a woman, isn't it? Every person is different. Every person has different erogenous zones, different desires, and different turn-ons. I can't stress that enough. There is no one best way to stimulate a clitoris, just like there's no one best way to stimulate a penis. For that, you have to do some exploring and experimenting. So, with this being said, I will now provide you with some tips that will give you the confidence to start the process of exploration, experimentation, having a good time getting to know that clitoris that you want to love. As you have learned by now, the clitoris is small, it's pea-sized, comes with a hood, and it packs 8,000 nerve endings. It is the center of female sexuality and the powerhouse of the female orgasm. And I'm not telling you to intimidate you, but for you to know that all of that demands for you to know its shape and its size, and for that you need to look. I understand, because it's primarily veiled configuration, you may hear that it's easier, the clitoris is easier to be felt than seen, but I believe in order to become a good lover for that clitoris, you need to inform yourself with its size and with its shape before you do anything, because it is small. If you're a woman and you're single, take a mirror and take a close look. Look at your clitoris, look at your hood, look how it's all shaped, how it all feels. And if you're a male that loves women, ask to do the same thing. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can make fun, you can have fun with it, and take your time. Take your time just to look at it and see what the clitoris looks like. Now, you need to make sure that you're not touching the clitoris, because most likely the body is not aroused at this point if you're doing a show and tell like this, and so the clitoris will be too sensitive to touch. So that comes later. First, you look. You will not become a good lover of the clitoris, that particular clitoris that is in front of you, unless you know its shape and its size. Now, you can believe me this, almost all the times a direct approach to the clitoris is unwanted. It is too sensitive to touch and stimulate if the body is not in an advanced arousal state. Many women can relate to the small but sharp pain that you feel in the clitoris when the touch is too early and it is unwanted. It can kill the mood. I can promise you that. So spend time warming up the physical energy of the body. That means kissing, touching other erotic zones. You know, all you have to do is just turn up the heat before you touch the clitoris. The clitoris does not discriminate. It responds to many different things, like digital manipulation, stimulation, vibrator, dildo, mouth, tongue. It does not discriminate, as long as you introduce yourself and your touch with care and respect of the power that it holds. With that said, I suggest that, I have a little puppy here, which is kind of cute, with a big hood and a clit under here. With that said, I suggest that you use your finger, and you have to come from the top. If you come from the bottom, you will automatically move the hood and go direct contact to the clit, because we're not doing that. We're not starting with a direct contact. We're starting with indirect contact. And for that, you come from the top. You can use the hood like a mitten. It's additional protection for that. You can use the hood and you can start feeling. And you can actually push down a little harder than you would without the hood, because you have that protection, that mitten. And you can start feeling the clitoris. You can even see if it's hard and the shape and the size. Now you already know what it looks like. Now you can see what it feels like. If you push your finger up, pull your finger up a little further, of the clitoris, then there is, if you can push down a little harder, and then you can feel the shaft, which is also cool. Now, if your fingers stick, make sure that and they don't slide comfortably, make sure you use a little saliva, or you can also switch to oral sex, because the tongue and the mouth can do all of this indirect contact and play around and all of that, and saliva will be readily available. Now, after that, if you're ready and you feel comfortable with what you're doing, get good at it, feel comfortable with it, and then you get to the direct contact. Now, for that, you most likely will have to pull the hood back. You can do it this way, or you can do it this way, but be gentle. Gentle and soft is the idea to start direct contact, because what you have to do is you keep your touch gently and softly, and then you watch the body respond. You change the rhythm of the touch, you change the pressure of the touch, and you watch the body, how they respond. This is the time you can tease a little bit, you can tickle, and then you go away. You watch how the body responds. This is the time where you experiment. You were exploring, and now you experiment and see what the body does. And you can also ask, how does this feel? What do you think you want me to do? So this is fun. This is a good time to have with this clitoris and with the person that owns this clitoris. Now, of course, we need to say that every woman reacts differently to the stimulation of her jewel. But the one thing that we do know is that the clitoris demands sustained and perhaps collective attention in order to perform at its optimum. So remember that. So the power of knowing your own body, or the body that you are loving, translates into greater satisfaction. But it takes time to mature such knowledge. It does not happen overnight. So I can promise you, you too can become a good lover of the clitoris with intent and practice, practice, practice. If you want some more information about the clitoris, click on that video that's down here that I did last October. There's some new and different information in there, and have fun practicing and exploring. And I'll see you next week. Take care.